there. I am Matt Wilhelmi. I'm the owner of Strategic Voyages Business Consultants. I'm also the author of Taboo Business Questions, What's Haunting Every Entrepreneur's Growth. And I'm really excited to wrap up this episode with Sarah Mitial. She's the owner of People Architectural Group. She's an HR veteran. She's seen it. She's been there. She's done it. Everything HR. And we were just about to get into some of the solutions and strategies that Sarah is thinking about for this particular company. Just to give you a quick recap, this business has been around for about 40 years. There's 2 owners, and the son is being groomed to basically take over the business. And as you might imagine, there are lots of different concerns that Sarah has, that I have, that probably anybody would have, but especially the people working in the business. They're the lifeblood of the business. And Sarah has some great ideas and solutions and strategies. I really can't wait to hear them. Sarah, thanks so much for wrapping this up with me.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Thank you.
So we were just kind of briefly talking about the 3 things that you would suggest for this company. Do you mind telling us what they are?
Absolutely. I think, we talked in the last segment about getting the leader ready. And then at this point, it's a matter of getting the employees ready, right? And some of those process is the same that the leader went through individually, and he has to do it with the organization. And I think right now, when he takes over, or as he needs to make sure that he communicate to his employees what's in it for them, right? And going back to that Maslow hierarchy of needs, is that people need to feel that their basic needs are going to be met. And so letting everybody know that financially the organization is going great. I think right there, people doesn't feel like, the old owners are taking everything, and there's not going to be money to pay them. Right. So make sure that they know, if that's the case. Please don't communicate that everything is great if it's not great. But make sure that that's happened. And through the transition too, I hope that the leader is letting people know, communicate changes as it happens. And so people feel like, and I think letting people know that he wants them to be on board. He hoped that they stick around with him, just like they did with the previous owners, but also give people the choice that if they choose to leave, that it's okay. Right? It's okay. So give them that choice, but make sure that you let them know that you want them to be on board, if that's the case.
Yeah, I think sometimes business leaders just kind of assume that people are going to stick around. And that's not always the
That
case,
is not always the case. And
especially when you're talking about a very big leadership transition. If there isn't that warm and fuzzy, I'm wanted here feeling, it gives people a really, really sober look at why are they there. There's other jobs, there's other opportunities. This guy doesn't pay attention to me or whatever. You start to feel neglected. And so that's really, really key, what you just said about, thinking about what's in it for your staff. What message are you going to communicate? Hopefully, it is a message of confidence.
Absolutely. When I talk to candidates who are looking for a job, everybody tells me that they want growth opportunity, and they want to feel like they can grow. And so if there's a new leader, those who are staying, who choose to be part of this organization, want to know that they can grow. And so they want, and my second thing is that from that growth perspective, is communicate if mission and vision is changing, if the purpose of the organization is changing. Because if it's changing, as people are deciding whether or not they want to stick around, they want to know, is like, what am I working towards? And does that align with what I want for myself? And so as you're communicating with people, give them a choice first, and then make sure that they understand what they are choosing. Because if people are their basic need, remember, if your employees' basic needs are met, you can tell if it's being met because your engagement numbers and your turnover numbers are there. So make sure that you are letting them know what they are sticking around for. And my third thing is, I think that especially this leader, he's very fortunate to have been part of an organization where he probably have people who are on his team already. He knows he have people who can really help him bring whatever his mission and vision is, right? You want those individual alongside you. But I think he also know what the staff been asking for but haven't gotten. And so he can come in here and be that knight in shining armor by providing those low-hanging fruit that those staff been asking for, and all of a sudden they feel like, oh my gosh. And some of those things may not even cost the organization anything other than a little time, right? Not big things. Some of them may cost something, so you have to assess whether or not it's something that you can do. But what are those low hanging fruit that you can make sure that you solve for your staff right away, where they see that, you know what, I am for you.
Yeah, that's great. Sarah, I think I do want to touch on a research article I read recently, which ties into what you just said. And the research article was related to employee engagement surveys.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you know a lot about employee engagement, right? And you know a lot about, how do we actually quantify that? And, if we're going to ask some questions, what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
And in this research article, the whole point of the article was determining observation analysis. So do the employees actually become more engaged just by being surveyed? Nothing's getting implemented. Nothing's getting changed yet. This isn't like we're going to pull them today and pull them in, a year from now. And is there a difference? The whole point of the exercise was, do people feel more engaged? Do they feel more taken care of when they're surveyed and when they're even just asked, how do you feel like things are going around here? And what the survey found, and you can probably relate this to your work experience, is that there was this huge jump in engagement when there was the announcement of a survey and the rollout of the survey. Nothing got changed yet. It's not like they brought in cake every Friday or put a beer cooler in the back office or gave people unlimited PTO. They didn't do anything yet. It was just by being asked, because then the employees felt taken care of, to one of your points. And so the reason I bring this up is because I think about, going in as this knight in shining armor, you really have to take the pulse of your organization.
Absolutely. And you know what? Everybody want to feel like they are part of what's happening. Everybody want to feel like that what I want matter. And so the fact that you are doing survey and you're asking employees, what do you want? What matters to you? How can I give that to you? Not what I want to give you, but what you want. So I want to speak your love language. And so that is very important when you do surveys. I think organizations should do surveys all the time, at least, if not every year, every other year. And then make sure that the one way you can get employees to not participate in survey is for you not to do anything with the survey results. So make sure that when you survey them, even you communicate the finding of the survey and you change something. You don't have to change everything, because some of the things that you're asking may not be able to be changed right away, because you are creating, what you're trying to do is, when you take those survey results and you do something about it, even if it takes 2 years, 5 years, but little by little, you're doing something, is that you're changing the culture. You're telling people that I care about you. I heard you. You told me what you want and I heard you. I can't do it right now, but little by little, I can do those low hanging fruits right now. So let's take care of those. So
Yeah, it
what?
reminds me, Sarah, of like honesty, right?
Oh my
And
God.
integrity. And like, hey, I said I'm going to do this, and
Yeah.
gosh darn it, I'm carrying it out. I'm going to do what
Yeah.
I said I'm going to do.
And continue to communicate. Hey guys, I know we are doing a survey now. I did hear you last time, but remember, we changed A, B, C, and D. We still have E and F to do. However, I still want to know, is there anything that we are doing, as we are still working on those other two? So remember, I remember that you still do that, because otherwise you're going to hear the same thing again on the survey, right? So let them know, I still know that is, I still know that I haven't responded to those two, but I want you to remember that I did respond to the five before. and
Yeah, I think sometimes employees, especially if they're there every day, right? They're doing their job. Maybe they got yelled at by a customer, which unfortunately that happens. Like they're just down, right? And they then, oh, we got this survey. Like it's not a magic pill. So you do have to kind of maybe set the stage a little bit and say, hey, like, remember all these great things I did for you?
yeah.
So that's interesting that you recommend that. Are there any other recommendations that maybe would come out of an employee survey that you would maybe give some advice to and help people kind of understand how that would get implemented?
I think right now you have to understand you're serving when you're surveying right now, diversity and inclusion is huge, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of organization will take diversity, they was like, oh yeah, we are doing diversity and inclusion. Well, they just do a class and they just change, they check it off. And I want you to know that DI needs to be part of your culture. I want you to know the survey, what you do with the survey need to be part of your culture. So what you are doing is if you are saying that my culture is I listen, and within my culture I ask questions, within my culture I want people to be engaged, my employees to be engaged. And if that's what you want them to do, then you need to make sure that you are continuing to talk to them, you're continuing to let them know where you are in the process of making changes, and you want to make sure that the changes you are making is implemented wherever it needs to be implemented. So if you are saying I want to be a organization that focus on DI, it should be part of your hiring process. It should be reflected in your job description. It should be reflected in meetings, the way you run meetings. It should be reflected in the benefits that you provide. So you see what I'm saying? Because it's part of the culture. You cannot separate it from who you are. So I think we just need to make sure leaders have to think about what is the tone I am setting for my organization, what kind of organization culture that I want, and I want to make sure that I communicate so everybody know that we're on the same line, on the same page as we move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sarah, I can tell as we're talking about some of these different topics, whether it's the mindset of the leader, whether it's the knight in shining armor or the mission and vision statement, and even the last topic, this diversity, equity, and inclusion topic, which is so huge right now. Your passion is just like over the top, which is great. And so I really appreciate your time, Sarah, and spending some time with me and talking about this particular case study and really leadership in general. So if somebody wanted to contact you, your email address will be on the links that we'll put on the show notes. And again, Sarah of People Architectural Group, I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Matt.